Okay, I think I know I can share it right now.
All right.
Did you
Yeah.
did you
If
get
there's a
request?
way, I will see it here, then I will accept.
You still didn't get the request, right?
Not yet, sir.
Oh, it is making me share it, but at the other side, it is giving me. Let me see. Can you see this?
Okay, yes, I can see now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'll have to share it online then, which is
No,
completely
you can
fine.
cut. I can see it. I can see your screen now. So you can just go on, continue with the slide to open the slide. So
Okay. Can you see it now?
I can only see your laptop background or screen. So,
Oh,
but you are yet to open the file, the document.
okay. What of
Yeah,
this?
Madam Enola, you can take over.
You can see
All
it
right.
now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Continuously. All right. Good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us from. My name is Padiji Eniola, and I'll be your host for tonight's webinar series. And as we all know, we are Fish Lead Hub, the initiative that supports fisheries and aquaculture students into venturing into industries and also sharing opportunities, limelight, encouragement. So, and also sharing, how would I put it? And also sharing a lot of things that might be like, that might not be known to us. Yes. So that is why Fish Tip Up is here. And please, if you've joined us live, to our viewers, please drop a comment in the chat box to know that you are with us. And if you are ready, you can say, I am ready. So let's know that people are with us. Just let us know in the chat box. If you can hear me clearly, please signify in the chat box that you can hear and see us clearly so we can pick up from there. And if tell a friend to tell a friend, you don't want to miss this section because this is the second series of this webinar we'll be having. We've had one before. So in case you missed the first one, you can't afford to miss the second one again. Please, if you have a friend, tell them that something is happening right now on our YouTube channel, Fish Lead Up, that they don't want to miss this opportunity. Please, all our viewers, let's know in the chat box if you are with us, if you can see and hear us clearly, so we can move on from there. All right, I can see people. Thank you very much. So, can we have more? Can we have more, please? And if you are here, you have a friend that you know is supposed to be here and is not here yet. Please do well to send a soft reminder to them that we can't afford to miss this section. And as we all know, we have a very how like an instruction here. Anytime you have something like this in our list, make sure you have your writing material because you might not be able to assimilate every point at that time, but when you put it to writing, it will be easy for you to remember. Please make sure you have your writing material. I have mine already. Please make sure you have your writing materials to jot out necessary points. Please, every information that will be passed across to us this evening is very much important. So you can't afford to miss any section. All right, Mr. Kayo Israel said he's ready. We're also ready for you. Mr. Paul Omodara, we are also ready for you. And with me on stage, I have team lead of Fish Lead Up in person of Mr. Oke Ojo Pelumi. Mr. Pelumi, good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good evening, ma. I'm good. And I hope same with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for this great opportunity to share the stage with you. Yeah, without wasting much of our time, we'll venture into the purpose of this gathering. So, as usual, we usually have a webinar every month. So, but this one is kind of different because we've done the first series of it and we are bringing it back again for people that missed the first series. So the first series is still on our YouTube channel, but this one is very much important as well. And we have our facilitator ready for us and also on stage in the person of Mr. Abdul Malik Oladipupo. He is a PhD student that has an affiliation with Auburn University. His area of interest is aquatic animal health and aquaculture production. So you see that we are in the limelight already. We are not going astray. We are not going wrong. So without wasting of our time, we have Mr. Abdul Malik. Good day, Mr. Abdul Malik. Please, can you hear us?
Yeah, good day to you and good day to everyone. I can hear you clearly and hope you can hear me too.
All right. Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Thank you very much for joining us. We don't take this opportunity for granted. So you have the stage, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone also for being here to listen to me. And also thank you to the Fish Lead Hub for actually inviting me to give this talk. And I'm always happy and ready to give this kind of talk as long as it can help people and people that are aspiring one way or the other to get some kind of funding or scholarship to progress their studies. So without wasting much of our time, so today I will be talking to you guys about maximizing your chances for scholarship and graduate opportunities in aquaculture and fisheries. And as the moderator has said, my name is Abdumalik Oladipupo, and I'm a graduate research assistant and also a PhD candidate in the School of Fisheries, Aquaculture, and Aquatic Science in Auburn University, Alabama, USA. So to start with, I want to believe that everyone on this call that are here has some kind of interest in scholarship, scholarship or graduate funding abroad. So, and that's the major reason why everyone is here to actually listen to how their chances can be maximized. So, I would employ you guys to also, take this as my own personal experience with what I've seen so far and what I did, and there's not always one way to things. There are so many other ways, so many other paths to getting these opportunities. So to start with, I would like to tell you all about my background a little bit. And I did aquaculture and fisheries at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Funab, which I started in 2011 and graduated in 2016. Yeah, it's a 5 years course. Hopefully, still a 5 years course, I guess. So after then, the next part of my education route is my MSc in fisheries, aquaculture, and also aquatic sciences in Auburn University, which I started in 2022 to 2023. A thesis-based program, and my research focus was basically on aquatic animal health. And the part that I am right now, which is my current stage in my education, is my doctoral degree in this under the same degree at Auburn University. So I started that in 2023, and hopefully I'll be done by next year. I don't know, but yeah, we are still on that. So I'm also still working on aquatic animal health. I'm working on some disease related stuff here, which I'll be taking you guys through, a little bit. So looking at my research background and what I've done so far. So when I mean research background, I'm starting right from my master's down to my PhD because I'm not giving account of my bachelor's research, which was kind of different from what I'm doing right now. So looking at that, in these slides that you guys can see here, this is just basically me and what I'm doing. So when I said I do aquaculture production, that's basically me doing outdoor stuff, feeding fish, looking for growth, looking for some other performance indices to actually, make a projection on how they could be raised profitably by farmers, for commercial production. So I do that on a research scale. So I do aquaculture production and I do health also. So the health part is, as you can see, these are some of the fish that I've killed in the past years. When I mean I killed them, I did not put a knife in their head. I basically killed them with bacteria, some kind of bacteria. So this is largemouth bass here, on the bottom left screen, my own left side, and the middle one right here are tilapia. They are now tilapia that I challenged with streptococcus and Flavobacterium columnar. The bass were killed by Ramonas veronii. So basically, what I try to do is I give this fish some kind of vaccine or immunostimulant or therapeutant that is expected to actually protect them against these diseases. These are common diseases in the wild. So after doing that, I challenge them with the same bacteria to see how effective those treatments work. So if they're effective, I'm gonna know. If they are not, then I'm gonna know. And also, I collect some of their baseline parameters like blood and some immune tissues to investigate some of the baseline immunity and how that immunity come to place in the first place. So that's what you can see in the far right corner of the screen. So, taking you guys through a little bit about my professional background. So, after my bachelor's, my first job was as an artery technician at Shaudag Limited in Ekpe, Lagos. That was from 2018 to 2019, and this is what the facility looks like then. So, I work in the artery. Basically, we were producing African catfish and doing, massive production, about 5 to 10 million per annum. And that was actually the place I gained my initial hands-on experience, apart from IT and some laboratory experience back in school. So my first commercial production was here, and I did quite a lot of work on breeding of African catfish here, and some little bit part of grow-out productions too. So after then, from 2019 to 2020, I was a production supervisor at Songhai. I don't know, you guys might be familiar with Songhai in Benin Republic. The very famous organic farm. So they had a branch then in Iwo, Osun State, which has now been renamed to Avant Organic Farms and Food Limited. So I was production supervisor there. I did a lot of organic farming and outdoor production, outdoor aquaculture production, cage culture, and the likes. So after then, I moved to Ilorin from 2020 to 2022, working with Patek Foods Limited in Kwara State. And then I was an aquaculture senior supervisor. That was also a large scale grow out artery recirculatory aquaculture farm. And we had these very fancy production tanks, as you can see, and we were producing very large volume of channel catfish. I mean, African catfish, sorry, African catfish as at then. So these experiences over the years have actually, weaved me to actually understand the nitty gritty of aquaculture production in Nigeria. So I mean, that was then. And all of these things are things that I used together. I mean, I packaged together as a professional qualification for myself to actually springboard myself for a graduate school. So now let's go a little into global update of aquaculture and fisheries, just so you guys know. And also, if there's anyone on this call that is not an aquaculture and fisheries person, I'm so sorry. It's gonna be a little bit specific on that, but it's also applicable to other field. So basically, aquaculture, now supplies more than 50% of aquatic animal production worldwide, and that's the first time this is going to surpass capture fisheries, and that was in 2022, which is actually a good indication that the aquaculture folks are doing a very good amount of job. So, and Asia produces about 70% of this total volume, which is incredible, and you know, a wake-up call for the rest of the world to actually sit up and increase their own production. And Norway and Chile are actually dominating Europe, and Egypt dominates in Africa, even though there are some other countries in Africa like Nigeria and Ghana doing aquaculture, but Egypt dominates more, and that's because of their tilapia production. And worldwide, the most produced species are shrimp, oysters, grass carp, Nile tilapia, and also silver carp. So that's just on the side of production and technology. So just so to focus more on production technology right now, most people know that aquaculture production rely heavily on controlled system, and some of this optimization helps in increasing production. And some of the very popular production systems are the earthen pond, which now people are now infusing biofloc technology to actually increase their production, especially as you can see in tilapia production in East Asia and North America. And cage culture is also has been there from time, but there's now been some advances in submersible cages, camera sensor, and also some of their underwater technology that can monitor production and even the health of the fish. And there's also recirculatory aquaculture technology, RAS system, very popular, has been there, for a very long time, but it keeps developing. They are now the development of protein schema. We used to have this protein schema when I was working in learning, but it wasn't very efficient. But there are some new designs now that are coming up that are actually helping better with filtration. So let's go into another aspect apart from technology, breeding and genetics. There have been some very good work coming out of that recently, like quantitative genetics, which is basically selective breeding for health and growth performance. And also, just to let you guys know that I'm showing you all of this just so you understand some of the major and the specifics under aquaculture and fisheries. So it is not just aquaculture and fisheries. So when you say you want to do aquaculture, you want to do fisheries, you have to be specific. You have to really know what area you are interested in. And there's also the new area of cryopreservation, which is gaining a lot of tractions recently. And that includes just preservation of sperm and other gametes, essentially for preserving traits. So unlike before, when we sacrifice a whole bunch of male fish and that's it, just in case you have a male fish that actually gives you very good quality seed, the mute is gone. But right now, with cryopreservation technology, scientists can now preserve those traits by preserving the sperm of a quality fish, and that can be reused, years after years, and that can guarantee, stable supply of fish. It can also guarantee not only stable supply, but also the quality of the fish can be maintained. So in new generation hatcheries right now, cryopreservation is a big thing that hatchery managers are now looking into to preserve a particular trait and maintain their line of stock. And there's also reproductive genomics, which is a very unique line right now. Um, like selective breeding, which is basically more practical and manual. Genomics ability, the ability of scientists to now sequence some of the tissues of fish to understand the gene and the underlying coding behind everything they do, their biofunctions. With this knowledge, they can now infuse that technology into selecting strains, selecting fish for growth performance, for health, and for so many other things. And there's also biotechnology, which is chromosomal manipulation, and with the recent triploidy production, which helps in producing quality breed. So taking all of this together, you can see that breeding and genetics is also moving forward. Is also a very unique line and favorable line for so many people to venture into with specifics on exactly what you are interested in. So nutrition and feed technology is actually a very popular and a very important aspect of aquaculture generally because feed technically the feed costs in the whole of aquaculture venture contains about 50 to 70%. So feed is not to be taken lightly. So and feed technology, they only have one aim, and the goal is just to develop sustainable feed to fuel the industry, and most importantly, to also replace wild caught fish. So what are the specifics under nutrition and feed technology? Are feed formulation itself. There are now new extruding technology like cold extrusion. Cold extrusion is basically different from the conventional hot extrusion, whereby um, feed are extruded and all the micronutrient or sensitive additives like probiotics are preserved and they don't get to die based on the extrusion process. So there's also the functional feed aspect, which is basically the arrangement with prebiotics, probiotics, and also immunostimulants. This is a particular area that I'm interested in and I'm working on. This is my line of interest, investigating prebiotics, probiotics, and also immunostimulants. A very attractive one with FAO citing new regulations about how people use antibiotics in aquaculture. So with that strictness towards antibiotics globally, there's now been a shift into looking at functional feeds. And also alternative ingredients like the BSF, which is driving the research world crazy right now by, people are now looking at insect meal. There are so many derivatives of ingredients they can get from insect meal, like their waste, their shells, and the insect itself. And there have been a lot of investigation going on there. And there's also single cell protein on the algae protein also. So this taken all together actually indicates that there's been a very good forward movements in the whole aspect of nutrition and food technology. And there's also, if you want to go into nutritional physiology, just studying metabolic pathways and how fish digest the feed in the first place and how to distribute nutrients across their body. So let's go to aquatic animal health, which is my favorite, which is what I do. So in everything, health is very important, and it has been shown with several data out there that losing fish to disease actually contribute to a substantial amount in total fish loss globally and locally anywhere in the world. And diseases has been a very big, unique issue, not just for the fish itself, even for the human that are consuming it. And even there's also been some issues with some intercountry trading as related to diseases. So when you're looking at aquatic animal health, basically you are talking about immunology, which is studying the immune system itself and also vaccine development. You're talking about bacteriology and virology. We might just be the understanding the emerging pathogen. There are so many pathogens emerging every single day, and there are a whole bunch of diseases and pathogens out there that have not been discovered. And there's also the issue of aquaculture and wide interface right now, with issues going on in Norway and Canada, whereby regulatory bodies are now frowning at aquaculture enterprise in open waters because there's a transfer of diseases from the cage to the wild fish. And some fish are even escaping, which endangers the local tropical naive fish. So it's a whole bunch of things to actually look at, and there are still so many that have not been explored actually. And there's the disease diagnostic tools aspect also, which is, looking at eDNA. Environmental DNA is now a new area that scientists are now looking at to actually study the history of what pathogen might have been in a particular environment. And there's also the LAMP assays for quick sites on field diagnostics. And there's prevention, treatment, and control. This is a whole industry on its own. And localizing on in this particular area is just a hole that there's a hole you can explore there. There's the issue of antibiotic resistance. There's a One Health industry whereby you want to look at how aquaculture diseases and human, relate, and how that actually contributes to global health in general. There's the fish therapy and again immunostimulants also. So let's look at the landscape of aquaculture and fisheries generally. I mean, so in 2023, hmm, okay, so there's a typo here. I'm so sorry. That should be 2032, so not 2023. So aquaculture production is projected to reach about 205 million tons by 2032, according to FAO, which is very interesting. It means that we would probably have about 50% more in aquaculture production than what we already have now. So the implication of that is that not only are we supposed to produce more fish, also we need more workforce. We need huge workforce to actually work in these areas that I've spoken about. And in all of these areas, we need people to contribute so that we would have this particular increase that we are projecting. And the reality of the field is that it is very small. It has a lot of potential, but it is so small. And at the same time, it's received very little attention globally. Government bodies really pay attention to this particular field. And looking at opportunities generally, there's diverse opportunity out there, in Europe, in Asia, and also in North America for advanced degree, which is the action point of my discussion with you guys. So looking at the funding model, there's the scholarship and also there's the assistantship. So scholarship basically, if you don't already know, is a merit-based financial aid. So scholarship is basically you applying to a scholarship consortium, and they assess your application based on how scholarly achieved you have been, and they offer you tuition fee. They give you everything you need to study and excel, and most of it at the end of the day has some kind of clause or contract in it that asks you to return back to your home country to give back to your society. So that's just what scholarship is. It's just merit based. So you have to be extraordinary to get that. Assistantship, on the other hand, is somewhat it's some kind of scholarship, but the difference there is that it could be full and it's also be partial tuition waiver. And with assistantship, this assistantship only happens in North America, which is Canada or the United States, whereby you are actually hired as a graduate research assistant or a graduate teaching assistant, and you are offered a full or partial tuition waiver. So the service you render is your teaching or your research, and you get paid some very few amount which you call stipend, just to cover up your living expenses cost and other costs that you might have. So it is very similar to scholarship, just that with this, it is not entirely merit based. When I mean entirely merit based, it means there are still some other ways around it. It's not entirely merit based, and they will not provide you with everything. Most assistantship does not come with some of the aids that scholarship come with, um, your year tickets, your visa application fee, all of that. You have to cover it up yourself. But your tuition fee is mostly waived or partially waived. So let's look at strategic positioning. How can you position yourself to secure either a scholarship or assistantship, which is very, very important because you really have to plan strategically to get these positions. So what you should do, I'm classifying, people generally into being an undergraduate, a postgraduate, maybe they are doing their masters right now, or they are recent graduates, or people that are already professionals in the field. So as an undergraduate, what should you do? What should you be doing right now? If you are, let's say you are like in your final year, you are in your 300 level or 400 level, I mean, just somewhere very close to the finish line. So the first thing you want to start doing right now, if you actually have the goal of getting a scholarship or an assistantship one day, is to establish a research interest. Firstly, you need to know what you need, like what you want to do. And that is the reason why I presented those different specifics, in my earlier slide. Find a niche and understand the trending topics in that particular area. If you want to go into animal health, know what it entails. If you want to go to nutrition, know what it entails and know what they are doing currently. You don't need to have a broad knowledge, but at least be aware of what you are interested in. So you need to, when you know that at an undergraduate level, it makes life so easy for you because you have so much time in front of you um to do a proper research into the field. So you need to also build grades, which is very, very important when you're still in school. I mean, no one told me this when I was in school. So if you are able to build grades, that would really help you because good grades will put you in a very, very, very good position. It is not just only about grades sometimes, but good grades is like 50%. I mean, it's gonna give you 50% of the chances that you're hoping to get. So another thing you want to do is start volunteering, join social groups, join student associations. I mean, add up those leadership roles on your CV. As an undergrad or someone that just graduated, your CV is not really bulky. It's barely 2 pages, but if you can get this volunteering, if you can get to volunteer rather and join social groups and student association, that would essentially boost your CV and also shows how involved you've been. You are not just there as a student; you've been involved, and also you want to get your hands wet, which is also very important. Engage in practical sessions. I mean, with labs that they are doing something practical related. Even though I understand that there might be resources limitation in some schools in West Africa, example in Nigeria, but there are still some places whereby they still engage in some practical sessions that you can join in and look at what they are doing, take notes. It can be within your school or outside your school. And also, if you have the opportunity to write anything or to speak, jump at it. It is not always the best. When you start speaking, it's very difficult, but when you keep doing it over time or writing, you get better. So it is also very, very important because you never know when the opportunity will come and they would have you speak to them or you have an interview with them or write something. So start doing this at the undergraduate level. Also, try to build network from there, build connections with lecturer. It is very, very important that you have a very strong connections with some lecturers, maybe not all. And these people, the reason why you want to build connections with them is apart from mentorship, it is also the fact that they can also they will be your contact point when you are requesting for, let's say, a recommendation letter or something. Some of the lecturers also have connections with schools abroad that they might even help you. And I know some schools that they have very high and good reputations with some graduate school in the US here. And whenever they get a recommendation letter from those schools, they are highly considered. So build those connections. And even importantly, outside school, build connections with farmers. Let's say you are, you've gone for internship at a farm or with a research institute. Like I know aquaculture and fisheries students do go to places like Neoma, Nifri, and all those regulatory fisheries and organization bodies. Build connections with them and stakeholders so that when you need a recommendation letter, these people can write, and their recommendation letters are always very strong. The lecturers' recommendation letters are strong, but farmers or other stakeholders' recommendation letters is even stronger. So as a recent graduate, let's say you just graduated, you're out of school, you probably cannot do most of the things I just said, and you've already graduated and you did not know that you should build network connection or even grades. So you just graduated. So what should you do? Try to acquire skills. It's very, very important. Right now, the world is going into big data analysis, the world is moving into genomics, and most of these things are things that you can learn outside the four walls of your class. So if you can take courses online, take them. That would be very, very helpful. And when you gain all of this knowledge, if there's an active training going on, join them so that you can acquire these skills, especially computational skills. Very, very important, and it's selling very fast globally. So also another thing you want to do as a recent graduate is to map an application plan. Be aware of the scholarship requirements. Look them up. You really need to do a job. I've met so many people over the years that I must tell you, anyone that you had that one way or the other won a scholarship or probably got a position, it's not always easy. It was never luck. People actually, like, they did the work. It is very, very crazy, tedious work, the tedious part. So if you really know you really want it, be ready to go through that part. So be aware, read up those things. Everything is online. Read them up and build an action plan. Like, oh, I'm going to apply for this next year. This is what I need. So that is very, very important. And also have your credentials ready. Everything that you need to get from your school after graduation, get them ready. Your diploma or your certificates, and also your transcripts. Volunteering and internship, you can still volunteer and do internship even after you graduate. So don't stop getting involved in that area. Another part is professional networking. Reach out to professionals in the field and also seek mentorship. Reach out to people, maybe people that are already, scholarship fellows that are there right now, or people that are in graduate school that you think, not everyone will respond to you, but if you reach out to at least, let's say, five, maybe two or three would respond. I've had people reach out to me in the past, and there are some I would respond to, some I might not, just because of time, and I can't talk to everyone at the same time. So take short courses, which is very, very important. Look for free short courses to upskill and also improve your resume. There are so many short courses online. There are a bunch of FAO courses that are free that you can take, which will look very good on your CV. So for a professional, let's say you've graduated 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years, or 10 years, you are still there. So all of the things that you could have done as an undergrad, you did not do it. So at that stage, it's not too late. Also, you can still build specialized expertise. By then, you're already in the field. Maybe you are in aquaculture production. Stick to what you are doing. It might be difficult, but try to stick to it. And this is applicable when you are active in the field or when you are a postgraduate student. Let's say you are doing your master's somewhere and you still intend to do a PhD one day. So build that specialized expertise. It is very, very important. And also leverage on the experience and the networks that you have. Leverage on them. Use those things as an advantage when you are applying. Tell your story. Don't tell your story without including those things. Tell your story in a very unique way by including those network and experience, because that's what reviewers want to see. Also be visible. Strive for research publication if you can. It might not be always easy to get, but if you can, strive for it. Strive for conference attendance. There are so many conferences happening. So for an example, let's say Nigeria, there are so many conferences happening in Nigeria that they offer some kind of subsidized fee for students to attend, or even some free, or even some scholarship online that you can apply for that could fund your trip to those conference. So social media presence is also very, very important. Use social media very well. When I mean social media, I'm specifically talking about LinkedIn now, but I know that social media can also be used to promote what you are doing. So if you can promote what you are doing, and with that, if one day you get your details or your credentials gets to the table of a reviewer, they can easily look you up and they will find you there. So volunteering and internship is also, that does not stop. Even if you are 10 years plus post graduation, you can still volunteer and do some internship, very short internship by the side. Professional networking is also very important. Reach out to others in the field and also submit more application. You have the story to tell because you've racked up this 5, 6, 7 years experience or postgraduate experience or whatever it is that you're doing. So you have that story to tell. So submit more application till it gets to the right place that you're going. And when you have all your credentials at hand, it's easier to submit this application. Although there might be some tough situation, which I'm still going to reach out to in a minute. So let's look at the toolkit for graduate student scholarship and assistantship in general. So what are the things you need to get ready to put you in that position, to set you up for success? So this is a gold standard requirement. So I use the word gold standard because it is highly important. It does not mean um, it is strict. It is not very strict. So what I mean is, take it as something you need to get to where you want to go, but at the same time, have it at the back of your mind that this is not the only part. There are so many other parts that I am aware of and the ones that I'm not even aware of. So you have to have that at the back of your mind because there are many ways to get to wherever you are going. So what do schools look for, or let's say scholarship consortia, or maybe even professors look for when they receive your application? Academic excellence is very, very important. Just like I said, they often look for, so for an example, let me take North America for an example. If you're looking for assistantship, when you go to their website, you will see that, oh, I have a CGPA of 3.0 above or 3.5 above. So, but at the same time, remember that it is not always just about grades. Someone could have even 4.0 or 4.0 and they would not even get the position. So and I know most schools in Nigeria use 5.0. So what a 5.0 grade CGPA looks like in this particular requirement is like around like 4.0 to 5. So 4.0 out of 5. So that's like almost the equivalent of 3.0 out of 4. It is not the exact thing, but I'm just giving you a range. So if you are using a 5.0 scale, so if 4.0 or let's say 3.5 above, you are in a very good position to apply. So they will look for academic excellence. They also look for if you have a research interest, a clear research interest, like how much do you want what you want and why do you want it? They need to see that in your application. And previous scholarly involvement, like have you published before, have you done a research somewhere before, I mean, was it presented at a conference? So they want to know if you are already in that mentality of a graduate school, if you are used to something like that. So they want to also see how adaptive you are to their program. So how strong-willed are you? Do you have an experience that demonstrates that? Do you, in your application, have you told a story that's indicated, oh, how you got to do something even though you were disadvantaged? Let's say you got a job and the job was challenging at first. How did you navigate through it? So those are the things they want to see. And also speaking and writing skill, your personal statements and your SOP, that will reveal how well you can speak and write. And in the world of AI now, everyone can read AI. So you have to be also very careful on that part. And also with an interview, most of them will conduct an interview. They want to meet you, they want to speak with you over the phone before they give you a final offer. With that, they would know if you can speak very well. They are not interested in how knowledgeable you are. They are more interested in how you can express yourself. Because if you're already knowledgeable about the field, there's no point you coming to do a master's or a PhD. They know you don't know. So when there's an interview, don't try to bamboozle them with technical information because you are not expected to know all of those things. But they just want to know that you can communicate yourself clearly. So also discipline and attentiveness. So when you open a scholarship application, if they say 250 word, do not go beyond that. Well, you can do less, but do not go beyond that. So because they pay attention to those things, in a situation they might be in a tight corner where they need to select 10 candidates and they have 11 and it's you and someone. So they have to look for something to actually drop one person. And this could be the reason. When they feel like, oh, you're not paying attention to details, they ask you to write 250 words and you wrote 251. So be very, very careful on that part also. So what are your academic toolkits basically? Your academic toolkits are your academic transcripts, your diploma and certificates, your result evaluation, that is if you need one, your scholarly evidence, and recommendation letters. So to go over this one by one, academic transcripts takes a whole while to get it from schools in Nigeria, in some schools. So you don't need an official transcript, you need a true student transcript at the application level. So as fast as you can get that, please get it in hand and have it. And also know that competition is always very fierce. So you don't want to miss out on any details they ask for. So get your academic transcript ready and your certificate. Also apply for it as soon as you can and have it in hand and have it scanned and ready to go. Result evaluation. Some schools would ask you to do a West evaluation or similar evaluation. There's some evaluation that can be done also that are different from West. So in this situation, you might need to do a West evaluation. It's expensive, but it is also very valuable. And on the other hand, if you cannot do this particular evaluation, then try to narrow your search down to schools that do not require a West evaluation. There are a whole bunch of schools there. You don't need to really limit yourself. If you are not financially capable of doing a West evaluation, just don't look for schools that offer West evaluation. So at the same time, scholarly evidence, your publication, have it ready if you have one. News article, if you are paying any news article, have it ready. Conference proceedings, if you have it published, maybe any conference you've been to, have it ready. And even if it's an email that confirms your attendance to that conference, have it ready. And also your test results. When I mean test results, I'll come back to that later. So I want to go back to the issue of West. Some schools have now started, excluding some countries out of West, even though some are still very adamant in getting West. So just look out carefully for schools that do not require West and apply for them if you cannot afford a West at this time. And recommendation letter is also very important. Treat as equally as every other requirement on this list. It is very, very important. Very, very important, because a good recommendation letter can make or break you. It's either they feel like, oh yeah, this recommendation letter is great, or it's not great. And some of the people you want to collect recommendation letters for, they are also well known in the field, and that might also make a difference in deciding about your application. So what are your non-academic toolkits? Let's say you had your academic toolkits ready. The non-academic toolkits basically are your passports. You have to get it ready, scanned, and ready to go. So if you're applying for a scholarship, I know for a research assistant or TA assistant in North America, you really don't need this at this point of applying mostly. But when you're looking for scholarship, let's say in the UK, you are applying for a Chebney scholarship or a Commonwealth scholarship, or you're applying for a DAD scholarship in Germany, or Erasmus Mundus in Europe, or all sorts of scholarship that are there. Most of them would require that you scan your biodata page of your passport or national ID card, or whatever it is you have that indicates that you're a residency of a particular country. So you have to have that ready. Also, you have to be consistent, be ready to submit more applications. Don't burn out trying. So that's a very, very important thing. It can burn you out really quick because it's a tiring process itself. And even though you have to be consistent, don't be heedless. So what heedless means is, in this situation, is that even though we've agreed that you have to submit more application, it doesn't mean you should start forwarding the same emails to everyone or submitting the same application every year. It doesn't make sense. You just keep wasting your time and wasting, your resources and all of. So be consistent means treat every application as something that is important. Treat it as you are about to get it. So don't overlook anything. So even if you have to apply for less, but make it more quality than going for more, and it's just, all over the place and doesn't make sense. So also know how to manage rejection. You get a whole lot of rejections. I've barely seen anyone that made it, for a scholarship or an assistantship and they have not been rejected before, unless you are probably the top graduating students in Nigeria. So, but for the most part, most people get rejected, and you have to be able to manage it. As a matter of fact, I feel like rejection sometimes can be a blessing if you know how to channel it properly. So at the same time, even though you want to be consistent, you want to manage rejection, you want to be strong and resilient, you also want to know that you can pivot when necessary. So because you are so adamant on getting aquatic animal health or aquatic nutrition, does not mean you should keep shooting every time. Pivot when necessary. Most of these fields are actually interconnected. You can pivot from aquaculture and go to fisheries. Just know the exact time to pivot, but also be careful. The reason why I added be careful is the fact that I've seen someone that in the past that applied to Auburn, and they applied to two different professors that are actually friends, and they indicated on their email that, oh, I want to do aquatic nutrition, and send it to the other guy like, oh, I want to do fisheries management. So that shows them clearly that you actually don't know what you are doing, especially if they are friends and you don't know that, but they are friends and they could easily see that, oh, the same person has sent us email but indicated two different interests. So they know that you actually don't know what you are doing. So be also careful. Look out for, if you are going to pivot at all, maybe try it in another school, a distance school, or maybe a distance professor. You might not be very sure about if they are close, but just be careful when you're looking at that. And also do your background work properly. Make a list of preferred institution. This should be based on your requirements, quality of life, and post studies opportunity. Just because you're looking for academic opportunities does not mean you should go to countries that are not livable. There are so many countries that are not livable, and you really want to do your research properly. So understand the quality of life and also the post-study opportunities. You can get a scholarship there, but when you're done with your scholarship, your study, so what's next when they don't even employ international students? So it is something you have to think about first before you start shooting out application. So look at how often do they employ, or what's the immigration style or status, or how you can navigate through all of those in that particular country. So now back to test results, and there are some nuances about test results that I would also like to discuss. So the first type of test results that is required for most graduate opportunities is your English language proficiency test. So this can be mandatory for some schools, and also depending on the country you are from, and you know most of it are the IELTS, TOEFL, or Duolingo tests. So, but most schools now accept medium of instruction from previous degree awarding institution. I never did IELTS to come to the United States, because most schools in the United States now accept medium of instruction from Nigerians, so which is a good thing. And I think Ghanaians also. I know, but you just have to check for your country on the particular university website to know if you need this test or not. They are also expensive, so you want to look for schools that will not require you to write this test unless you really need to write it. So qualifying exam like GRE is also very common, a very common requirement in North America. I've not heard about it being used in Europe, but maybe it's possible. I don't know. But in North America, Canada, and US, GRE is very, very, very common. And it's also puts you in a very competitive position if you have a very high score. It's most school usually asks for about at least more than 300 over 340. So most will even set it as 310. So it depends. You just want to have like 300 plus and you will be in a good position. So with a good GRE score, even if you don't have a 3.0 or 4.0 results, a good GRE score can be a game changer for you. So I've seen people that have a result of a 2.2 grade in Nigeria, 2.2 results, which is less than 3.5 or 5.0. But they did GRE exam and they had higher score, like 300 plus, and they got selected. So that could change everything for you but if you already have a good grade, maybe a first class degree, you might really not need a GRE. If you do it, fine, it's a plus, but you might really not need it. So just like I said, there are also exemptions. So this exemption can be tricky sometimes. So a school might actually exempt you from doing GRE or English language tests. And also sometimes it might just go below school level. A particular professor can personally waive these things for you too. So I've also, in my experience, I've seen someone that even though the school required GRE exam, after meeting with the professor over a call, like a short interview, the professor decided to waive that GRE for him. And that is just because they have the power to do it. So sometimes in some situations, if you are fortunate enough to get to the level of an interview, you can easily ask. And one thing you should know at the back of your mind is when you're talking about assistantship in North America, anything is possible. You can easily ask that, oh, can this be waived for you? Trust me, you might be surprised that it can be waived, even though it's required by the school. So these are things that you can knock on these things, try to push for it. And another example of this is the fact that I've seen so many people come to the United States and go to Canada for graduate research assistantship or teaching assistantship, for PhD or for masters. So many people. And up till last year, I would never think that an assistantship would actually fund your flight tickets. But last year, I actually saw someone that during an interview, she asked to be assisted with flight ticket and all of that, and they paid for it. So it's possible. Not anything is possible as long as you can ask nicely. If it's there, they will give you. If it's not, they will tell you it's not there. So, but just know that things are very, very flexible in North America. So just like I said, these exams are very expensive and equally beneficial. So you should be very smart when writing this exam. So you have to prepare very well and also be strategic because they all have validity period. So I think maybe a GR is 3 5 years, IELTS is probably 2 or 3 years, but I know they have validity period. So you want to know that once you've written this exam, you want to really intensify applications so that you can maximize that result when it is still valid. So let's go on to total package application. For your total package, you need your CV and your resume. You need your statement of purpose. You need your personal statements, which will include what are your motivations, so not your family background. So I've seen so many personal statements, including going deep into your family background, telling them about how your family navigated a particular challenge. They are not interested in that. So just go to your motivation. What motivated you? What happened in your community that motivated you to do what you have to do? So also SOP is focusing on specific research questions and showing your curiosity. They will really want to see how much you, how can you think. So like, do you really have a purpose? Do you really know what you want to do? And the recent trend and why you are selecting a particular school, a particular lab. So you will really want to display all of those things there. Recommendation letters also request for it ahead as soon as possible, and so you don't stress those people, or pressure them into giving you a recommendation letter under 1 week. The application is going to end. So you really want to give them enough time to work on this. So another aspect of the last aspect of this, or second to the last, I guess, is application fee. So this is often required in North America schools. I don't think there's any school in the US that you want to apply to that will not ask for application fee. But the thing there about application fee is that it is waived in some schools, and some schools offer waiver at some duration of the year. So you really want to go into their website, read about them. If you spend more time on LinkedIn, you would see some of these announcements like, oh, Ohio State is offering tuition waiver from this time to this time. And once you have a tuition waiver, there's no reason for you not to submit an application because that's the only thing you have to spend money on. Every other document you have it, just invest time on it and submit. But in some schools that you have to pay, if you are super convinced and if you are financially buoyant enough, you might pay those application fee and it might come or not. And another thing I want to tell you when it comes to application fee is this. So with scholarships in Europe, in the generally most they don't require most of this application fee. You don't need it if you are applying for Commonwealth, Chevney, Erasmus, OKP scholarship in Netherlands. All of those you don't need those. You just need to submit directly and they will grade you. But in North America, they will make you submit this. They will make you pay this application fee. So another way to go around application fee paying is that when you start reaching out to professors earlier, if you are fortunate to get a response from a professor that is interested in working with you, make sure you get that to that point before you apply. So if you apply aimlessly without getting a professor and you apply to the school portal yourself and you pay the application fee, there's high chance that you get rejected unless the school specifically asks you not to reach out to any professor. Some of them will be like, oh, reaching out to professor is not necessary. You can apply directly. That's fine. But some of them, if they did not specify that, try to go to the school website, look for professors that are working in your area, send them a cold email. I will still get to the part of cold email shortly. Send them a cold email, and after getting your cold email, let's say you were responded to, and fortunately, they conducted an interview and they find you worthy, they will ask you to apply. And with that, even if you have to pay $100 for application fee, it's worth it because you know that for sure you are getting that admission. So you are not just wasting $100. So I don't know if what I said makes sense, but that's one good way to go about it. Don't just apply, look for assurance first, then apply. So essay questions, also be very prepared to write a whole bunch of essay with scholarship applications. There's a whole bunch of essays for you to write, about 250 to 1,000 words with different questions. Also know the difference between what a CV and a resume is, and when either of the two is asked, know the one to present. You really don't need a lot of details with your resume, whereas your CV you need more details. So the code email strategy. So in North America, because the way funding works here in the US or Canada is that professors apply for grants, and once they get the grant based on a proposed research, they mostly hire students to carry out this research. And when I mean hire, it means they will offer the position out to a student. So students will be the one carrying out their research. They will use the grants money to fund that student's studentship. So it's either a fully funded or a partially funded position. So, but mostly it is mostly a fully funded position. So how do you get all of this? Some professors will actually advertise it, you know, through the school website or through LinkedIn, why some won't. And with those that won't, you have to write a cold email. And the way you do that is to go to the website and get their email. It is always there. And you write a strategic email to them, letting them know of your interests and what's I mean, why their lab interests you and what you would like to offer. So it is mandatory for some schools, just like I said, they would ask you to connect with a potential advisor before applying. If you apply directly, they will not consider it. And that is for mandatory position. Let's say it is not advertised or it is not mentioned. You have to scout for positions yourself. Follow a professor in your field of interest, look up their publication and lab groups, reach out to maybe their students if you can, and again, be very intentional and be specific in that particular email you are sending. So the email is just basically introducing yourself, what you have, and let them know you've actually been following their lab for a while and their publication. And if they have a position opening, you would like to come in as a master's or a PhD student. And also, when you send this email, always attach your transcript and CV. Some might get back to you, some will not. There will be a lot of response that will come like, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't have funding at this time. Some will tell you, oh, I'm not accepting student at this time. Some will tell you I'm retired. But eventually, if anyone tells you like, oh, I don't have funding at this time, or I don't have space in my lab at this time, know that there's potential for that person to get to the lab in the future. So follow-ups are very, very essential. Reach out to them, acknowledge the email, thank them for getting back to you, and also plan to reach out to them in like another 4 or 5 months. Like, hey, I'm just checking up again just to see if there's funding or there's position. So that would be a good thing to do. So to wrap this up, I just have put together some pitfalls and that could that could really mar your ambition or disrupt the old journey. So what are the common mistakes? There's this very um nice picture that I like. It's a fisherman that actually did not bait the hook very well and got entangled in net. So he's probably regretting why he did that. So if you don't want to find yourself in that position, it is very important to know the mistakes that you can make and plan ahead. So firstly, you may be desperate to get a position. It's very possible. But do not show that desperation in your email or your essay. You don't really want to start saying, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been looking for this, that they are not interested. Oh, my family cannot do this. No, they don't care. So don't show that desperation in your email or essays. I've seen so many essays online that people share and it's very horrible. So another thing is lack of clear research interests. Yeah, you're an aquaculture student, you're a fishery student, yeah, a chemistry student, or what your field is. You want to show a clear research interest. Let them know you know your field. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm interested in aquaculture because aquaculture is projected to feed the population by this in so year by FAO. FAO said aquaculture has to do this. Yeah, everyone knows that. You are not specific. What do you want to do? You are interested in nutrition. Tell us what aspects you are interested in nutrition. Oh, I'm interested in looking at how single cell protein can actually replace fish meal in the diet of this so fish. So that is that is a clear interest. They might not have a research that is actually looking at single cell in the lab, but at least they know that you're interested in protein replacement or alternative feed, and that gives them a clear of what you want to do. So let's say you're interested in genomics and you really want to go into like, oh yeah, I'm interested in genomics, how genomics can actually help in gene editing and how we can start understanding gene expressions and all of that. So you really want to display that you know what you want to do. So lack of show clear research interests in any writing, be it essay or SOP or code email that you're sending. And also poor planning. Application rolls out in and out every year. Scholarship application, at least I know. Commonwealth every year. Chevening scholarships every year. OKP, I think, is still running every year. Erasmus, probably about 5 or 10 of them are rolling out every single year. So look ahead, plan ahead, look at these things, get your documents ready before then. And when the time comes, you are ready, you are on the spot to submit. So don't start running around or submitting during the late minute. And just like I said at the beginning of this presentation, that remember that no one way works. Everything I've told you today is just a standard, but it doesn't mean that's the exact way it is going to work. It doesn't mean, I mean, but these are the gold standard. These are the things you should have. These are the attitude you should try to imbibe. So it's super important that you know that things can be flexible and pivot at the right time. And just like I said, getting a response is very valuable. Even if it's a rejection, you have to stay focused, improve your skills, reach out to current graduate students. There are a whole bunch of graduate students on LinkedIn. Reach out to them. Some will respond and some might not. And follow fellows like Erasmus Mundus Fellow, Chevney Fellow, Commonwealth Fellow. They are also there. Ask for advice. Ask them if they could help you review your application, or they can send you some of the essays they wrote to get their position. So many people are willing to help, but if you don't ask, they are not going to know. So reach out to them and build that connection from there. So with that, I would like to give you all these actionable resources just to start with, if you don't have them already. So as I said, aquaculture and fish management is a very small niche, and therefore there is a whole lot of work you need to do to find the right spot. Anytime I check my LinkedIn, I probably see 10 chemistry or biological sciences position before I see one aquaculture or fishes position. So it is that small. And other fields are so wild that their positions are everywhere, and they even have more schools that are offering them. But aquaculture and fisheries management is super small. So to even break that even more simpler, fisheries management even has way more opportunity in North America than aquaculture. Aquaculture is even way smaller. So have this at the back of your mind, and try to understand that you need to do a lot more work than other has been doing. So the first place I would recommend is to look at LinkedIn. I mean, follow relevant people that shares all these scholarship or assistantship tips. They can help. A lot of people out there shares and repost those things. And also, when you're searching for positions, use keyword like aquaculture scholarships, fish health, nutrition or genetics, fish ecology, population dynamics, aquaculture Erasmus, fellowship, all of that. There are so many keywords that you can put that would give you a list of posts that have been made recently regarding this subject. And also beyond LinkedIn, go to website of World Aquaculture Society. WAS website, their job board has a whole lot of opportunities there for graduate students, be it masters or PhD. And also look at American Fisheries Society if you are really interested about coming to North America. They have a list of positions, educational positions, and even job postings there. And the last one is Texas A&M Wildlife Job Board. This particular website was very useful for me when I was searching. It's one of the most popular job board that you would find advertised positions and even scholarship. So beyond that, there are others, but these are the top three that I think you should start with if you have not already started. And with schools that offers aquaculture and fisheries program in the US, there are a whole bunch of them beyond what I listed here. But I just listed the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. And I know they have very nice programs, very, very nice programs. Auburn, where I am right here, Mississippi State is close to us, doing a very good, they have a very good aquaculture and veterinary science program in aquaculture. They are doing a very good job. Next, Texas A&M, University of Maine, Oregon, Washington, Michigan State, University of Arizona, Idaho, Kentucky, Hawaii. There's Arkansas also, and Virginia, Florida. So, and um, all of these programs have graduate level programs, be it masters or PhD. So, if you want to go to these schools, make it an habit of going to these schools. Let's say maybe take one school per week, explore those schools, take a list of the professors there, look at what they are doing. There's always a how and a research interest of each of these professors. So if you can, if you can really do a good search to get to the bottom of what they are doing and what their lab group is. That would be very, very useful for you when you're writing your code email or your SOP. So with that, I would like to thank you all for listening and take your questions. But before then, I would just I decided to I thought about this during the last minute before, like that was like 15 minutes before this presentation started, to add this particular um arrow or trend of how I've navigated things so far. So maybe that's going to be a lesson for someone out there. So I had my BSc in 2016 from FUNAB, just like I said. And in between 2016 to my first job in 2018, I've applied for Commonwealth, Chevney, Erasmus, and OKP, and I got none.
Hmm.
I got rejected from this particular four scholarship boards. I was very particular about Europe at this early stage because as at then I did not even know anything about assistantship in North America. If I had known, maybe I would have started since 2017, but I did not know. I only thought the only place I could get scholarship was Europe. So I focused on these four and they all rejected me between 2016 and 2018. So, but then I took my first job in 2018, and while I was doing that, that added to my work experience. Then between 2018 to 2019 again, or between 2018 to 2020, that was like 2 years apart. My Commonwealth count raised to three, Tebni two, Erasmus four. I was applying for like about three different Erasmus then, and OKP twice, and everything got rejected. Then I took another job in 2019. From 2019, another job in 2020. Then by 2020, that was when a friend of mine introduced me to North America um, assistantship and how I could start reaching out to professors there. Then I was like, oh, I didn't know about this. Then I started researching about the US and schools that offer aquaculture. And I found a whole bunch of schools and I highlighted a whole bunch of professors there and I started sending cold emails. So from 2020 to 2023, I had sent 64 cold emails. I also applied for OKP one more time and I got rejected. But to my great surprise, my number 64th email got me my master's position.
Okay.
So, and, if I probably did not get it, maybe this count would have gone to like 100. So, but because I was not ready to stop as at the time I stopped, I was not ready to stop. So even when I got it, it was like, oh, okay. I thought I would probably reach 100 before I got it, but anyway. So the 64th one, but before that 64, you must have understood that so many things went down the line. I had written several essays, several SOP. So over time, I've actually built that habit of writing. It's so when I started writing essays in 2016, I would still struggle writing it, but by 2020, I was very good with writing my essays. I could write everything on top of my head without because I already I've written so many, so I understand what I want to write from the get go. I so that has actually helped me not only develop as not only gets me the position I want, but has also made me develop as a good writer and also maybe a good speaker also, and also maybe someone that that actually knows what they are doing, because over the years and through the jobs that I've done, that made me build a particular niche that I wanted. So I got that position in 2022, and okay, so there's another mistake here. This should be 2022, not 2020. So I got it in 2022, and by 2023 in Auburn, I graduated from my master's, and fortunately, my professor retained me for a PhD, which I started in 2023, and I've been there since then till I don't know. But anyway, the bottom line is just to show you that it's a journey. It really takes um, a very tough rigor and dedication and commitment if you really want to do it. And while you're at it, keep also living your life, take more jobs, do anything you need to do. You don't really need to wait it, because at the end of the day, I believe not everyone will get it. So if you get it, fine. If not, but at least you know that you have something else going on with you. So with that, I would like to take any questions you guys might have. Thank you for listening again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Malik. It was an indeed insightful section, and I believed all our viewers have been able to pick all the points because, as at this moment, no point should be left unpicked. So, every point is important. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. Please, to our viewers, if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. Please, let's do that snappy. If you have any question, let's drop it in the chat box.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Eniola. As questions will be coming in, I want to say thank you so much, sir. In fact, you left no stone untouched, and I know you must have done a whole lot of job to put this together. In fact, is fantastic, and I really appreciate. Thanks for having the interest of young people, especially in this career part in mind. And I believe our viewers and members has been able to pick, many things to make do with, and likewise myself here. So thank you so much, sir. In fact, a lot of questions I was having in mind has been answered in the course of your discussion, of your sharing your slides and your experiences with us, and I'm glad about that. So maybe I will just, as we expect questions from our viewers, I would just like to ask, sir, in a situation where, as an applicant, you have mentors or someone who is likely to write a recommendation letter for you, does not really understand, and a scholarship system, or let me say an international standard, what should an applicant do in such a situation? Because I think I was a victim of one, that should be to Erasmus, and I actually had opportunity of having the advisors letterhead with me, and I drafted the letter myself, and unfortunately they got to know, and they were questioning me, but I didn't also want to come up with some excuses. I just have to accepted it as a mistake from my end, and the lesson to learn. So because I felt my organ may not be able to write the way I really, what I've seen people talk about, how your recommendation letter should be. So I just want to ask, sir, for also our viewers to know, what should one do in such situation? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much for that question. So regarding recommendation letter, so one thing I know about recommendation letter is either they ask you to submit the email of your um um referee, or they ask you for a physical letter. And I know Erasmus, they used to ask for physical letter. They wanted to upload the letter itself, because I've done it in the past. And also this might be very stressful, because imagine going back to someone every year, like, oh, write me a recommendation letter, write me a recommendation letter. And it's sometimes you really don't have the confidence of going back to them. So in that situation, it is very important to talk to your referee, let them understand the fact that there's a particular way that you need it to be written. Some of them, I mean, most people have asked for recommendation letter in the past. They would tell me to write what I want and send it over. They would edit it, read it, put it on a letter headed themselves, sign it, and send it over. But in the situation you just described right now, it is very important. Even though if you are going to write it or draft it out yourself, you have to connect back to the referee, because I really don't know how they can find out, but it is possible. Nothing is impossible. Let's say they have to find out, or they have to reach out. Some of them will not even reach out, but in some cases they will. If they have to reach out, at least you have a backup that your referee can attest to the fact that, yeah, I gave it to him, I gave it to her, or you understand. So even though you want to draft it yourself, which is very acceptable, because most of them might not understand the intensity of what you need, draft it out yourself, show it to them, let them see it and know that, and from there they can easily attest to the fact that yeah, you're allowed to use this, and they can let you use their signature, because using their letterheaded and using their signature without them knowing is actually a big thing.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay. Do we have questions? Uh, okay. Maybe I believe people has been able to get a lot, because just like I said, I had many questions in mind, which has been wonderfully answered during the okay. Madam Enela, it seems we have one. Maybe
Okay. Yes, we have a question here from Precious. It says, I would like to ask if there is any exciting topics on fisheries processing and preservation and streamlining it to North America.
Yeah, so firstly, I'm sorry that I did not cover anything on processing, which is also an hot topic here in North America. There are so many processing technology also going on. There are some, because the reason why processing is a big thing is because there's the emergence of One Health program. One Health is now a very big issue. I mean, people eating fish that are not well preserved or well cooked and getting a particular aquatic diseases which can be zoonotic. So it is very, very important that processing line are top notch and perfected, just so it can limit that One Health risk. So, but if you ask me about the testing topic that are trending right now, I really cannot say a particular one, but what I know is the fact that it is an hot topic in North America. And if you are highly interested in that particular area, start looking at so many schools. Some of the schools I listed here, most of them also does something related to processing and preservation. But yeah, another
All
thing
right.
is, if I have more information or anything, you can probably, if you reach out to me, if I have any information, I can share it with you.
All
all
right,
right.
sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Please,
maybe
if you
as a
still have
all right, sorry. So I want to believe maybe there are no more questions, but if likely we still have, just like a wrap up, sir, I would like to say that you help us wrap up with this, just like you have highlighted in your presentation when talking, and that is a whole lot of jobs, and seeing your journey. In fact, writing, you wrote 64 code emails, and it was the 64th one. I've had people also talking about writing over 100 code emails. So it's daunting, and I think the journey was it. So, what habit or mindset should an applicant, cultivate or have, in this kind of situation to keep them consistent, in the journey. So maybe just a wrap up, with that as we close.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, with regarding mindset that one should have and one should develop, I'll use myself as an example for that. So, just like I showed you, even during when I was shooting out these emails and submitting this application, I was working all through. So I was super busy. So one part I forgot to mention was the fact that when my 64 email went out and I got responded to, the response I got was from my professor was, thank you so much for reaching out and interested in our program. Do you have a time for an interview? The moment I saw that email, I already knew that I got it, because I was like, no, because I've never gotten anything like that before. So when I got that, we had the interview 2 days later, and during the interview, they told me that, because I met with three people or two, and they told me like, oh, we are impressed with how you've attended to the interview and your CV, and you can go ahead and apply, and just make a reference to our name in your SOP. And also they asked me, do I have a GRE? Because the Urban School Portal requires a GRE. And as at then, I've never, or I don't have a GRE exam then. And when I checked, they said, "Oh, if you don't have it." So okay, so this is it. They asked me, "Do you have?" I did not respond, "I don't have." I said, "Oh, I'm in the process of getting it." Because if you say you don't have, that might kill the intention and the morale. I said, "I'm in the process of getting it." And they said, "Okay, yeah, well, because the reason why they asked is the application portal is going to close in the next 8 days. So what that means for me is I have to submit my application within the next eight days, and I need a GRE result in the next 8 days. So what I did immediately after that call that night, that same night was the night I paid for my GRE. So I prepared for GRE, even though most people, when I advise most people to prepare for GRE in like 2 months or 3 months, I myself prepared for it in 5 days. I have never read GRE before. I've never studied. I don't even know what GRE was as at then. But I had intention like GRE is not going to be the thing that will stop me from getting this thing after 60.
Exactly.
So I was working, but I would come home at night and I would study overnight because then there's this GRE about like 2,000 pages GRE preparation PDF that someone shared with me that I can use to prepare. I did not even have a laptop then. I would study with it over the phone, and it's like 2,000 plus pages. So that was what I studied for 5 days, and I traveled to Lagos the sixth day to take my GRE, and I had 300 exactly, and that was what was needed. That was like what was needed for me to secure that particular position. So coming back to the motivation, the thing is, writing so much essay, writing so much code email can actually drive you so mad. It can drive you crazy, especially at the point you run out of idea. You probably think, oh, maybe I'm not writing it properly, that's why I'm not getting it. Sometimes it's not like that. It's just because they have their maximum quota filled up. So, but the mentality is take a break, make a plan for yourself. Like every week, I will send out 2 code emails. So that was what I did. I was sending like minimum of 3 every week. Minimum of 3 every week. So make a plan. Once you know the schools you want to reach out to, hopefully you don't exhaust your list before you get your offer. Because if you exhaust your list, well, you might probably have to start again. So you make a list. So making a list and going over that list, make a plan for yourself based on your schedule. Like, oh, I'm going to send once per week. I'm going to send 5 every week. But regardless of any number you set for yourself, make sure it's unique. You have to tailor it to that particular professor you are reaching out so that it can reflect what they are doing and not just a generic email. So the mentality is if you are really interested in it, stay strong, make a plan for yourself, and also don't beat yourself too much. Don't weigh out. Think through, live life, do any other thing you have to do in your life. Don't wait for a scholarship. It might not come, and that's the reality. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It's just the fact that it's what it is. Right now, even funding is crazy in North America, and it is even strict to even get here now. So it's not related to who you are or what your grade is at some point. You can even have a first class and not get it. It's just what it is. So continue your life. Don't beat yourself over it. Rejections are so bad. Like for every rejection I do get, it takes me like 2 days to recover. So rejections are really that bad when it comes in. So when it comes, pick it up again, do anything you want to do, shoot out more emails, submit more European scholarship if you want to. But at the end of the day, always have it at the back of your mind that it's not a must that you get it. It is not always a must that you get it. It is just what it is there. You just try your best, and at the same time, be consistent, be committed, and then be so neutral about everything. So yeah, in all, I would just say it's a very long path that even if you have a partner, I mean, someone by the side that you guys can apply together, it's even way better because at least you have some kind of energy by the side to like, oh yeah, let me read the application, let me do this, how is it? But the thrill of expecting something is always good. I've been there before. When I'm expecting something, it makes me feel good, even though it might be rejected. But at least you know that at least I have 2 applications coming up. Chevney application is the worst. I hate it, and it's because it takes like a year before you get a response. And when it comes, you've anticipated for a year to get rejected. So it's so it's so sad most of the time. So but just know what it is, and that is what is required.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for that brilliant response. We have a couple of questions here, but maybe I will just quickly read and maybe make say some things to the two. Then the third one is what our facilitator will answer to. Then if he also has anything to say on the other two. Okay, one is saying, please, is there a way to learn how to write the application? I will just say, yeah, there are many ways. If you go to YouTube channel, there are quite number of people who guides and on how to navigate through some of these writings, some of these essays. So you can also make use of that. I also use that during my own time, and it helped a lot. So I have little fisheries internship experience, but a lot around climate education. Sorry, climate education, climate space. So how do I make use of this in my application for a research assistant position? Yeah, I will just, okay, maybe our moderator we answer that. So let me also read the last one. How do you optimize the use of AI in essay writing that will not affect your application? That's one, sir. Then the other one, which will be the last one, I have little fisheries internship experience, but a lot around climate education space. So how do I make use of this in my application for a research assistant position? I don't know if the question is clear, sir.
Yeah, it is clear. So, with regards to the fisheries, the little fisheries internship education, and a lot about around climate education and climate space. So, another thing I would like to say on this regard is I do not really know much about climate space and climate education, but what I know is that I have a whole lot of fisheries and aquaculture friends that are in some kind of degree here in the US. They are in biological sciences. They are in biosystem engineering. So what it means is that this field is so, even though it is small, it also interface with so many other fields. So when you are looking out, don't just look out for fisheries department. Look out biological sciences. There are so many aquatic animal health position in biological sciences, and it also interface with everything they are doing there. So with your climate education and climate space, I know for a fact that climate education and climate change, there's a whole big discussion about climate change in fisheries management itself right now, and also how it affects aquaculture. Climate change is one of the major issues and also driver of even aquatic animal health right now, with a lot of emerging diseases that are coming up, and everything is still back to climate change. So if there's some kind of background in climate education and climate space, I'm sure there's a way you can um, um, channel this and integrate it perfectly well into your fisheries background, which is your internship experience. So yeah, I would say look for a school that is doing something in fisheries, look for a professor that is doing something on climate change, ecology, and like that, and shoot your application explaining all these experiences that you have. So the second question about AI, how do you optimize the use of AI in essay writing? So AI is I really most of the time don't like to talk about AI, even though one way or the other everyone uses AI, one way or the other. So with writing of essay, so what I would say is, firstly, you when you see a scholarship essay, a scholarship question rather, and you're about to write the essay, make a plan of what you want to write. You should have an idea of what you want to write. If you have an idea of what you want to write and you've already highlighted the plan, try to write your first draft, no matter how silly it may be. Write your first draft. When you've written your first draft, I don't know the AI you are using or AI tool you are using. You can use AI in correcting your English, you're correcting your punctuation, your grammatical construction, but giving AI the total power to give you an opinion, that is way out of it. And one way or the other, trust me, they will find out. They will, because you don't know how to use AI more than these people. They know more about AI than you do. So they don't even need to, they will not scan 100 or 1,000 applications using an AI checking software. From the way it reads, they would know that this is not original. So as much as possible, try to be original by writing out what you intend to write. Then you can now use AI to probably optimize your grammatical construction, spelling, and every other thing. And even there are some prompts that you can use with some of the GPT softwares where you can You can probably give it your entire writing and ask for its opinion. You don't need it to write it for you. Just ask for its opinion. From the suggestion it gives you, you can use it to optimize what you've already written. But using it to write it in full or asking it to rewrite your essay for you, that will get you flagged.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Just I think for the last questions here. So for the one I read the other time, is there a way to learn how to write the application? And somebody is also asking, I would like to know how to write code email. Maybe just a few things to say on that, sir, as we close.
Yeah. So with is there a way to learn how to write the application? So what do you mean by application? I guess what you mean is how to probably write the SOP or personal
Yeah,
statements.
yeah,
So if that is what you mean, with with SOP and personal statements, yeah, I guess they are like templates that people have shared online, even though I'm not advising you to use the same thing because maybe millions of people have used that already. But the bottom line is if you can find a template that is shared on YouTube channel or probably on LinkedIn or someone, you can use that to actually build your own ladder on how to go with your writing. You don't necessarily need to copy it or follow the same flow that is there. But if I'm to tell you on top of my head how it should flow, I can tell you right away. Like if you're writing a personal statement, if I want to read what I would like to read in a personal statement is you telling me about your background. You start off by telling me about who you are. Tell me your background. Tell me, how you started. What's actually led you to doing that bachelor's degree and whatever you did. And after that bachelor's degree, or during the bachelor's degree, what are the things that actually inspired you? What happened during that? What course did you do in school that made you even fall in love with what you are doing? I mean, after that course, did you do an internship in a place that you had to do something or you saw something that got intriguing? So it's more personal. It is all about you, but tell us your story in a very unique way without you telling us about the deep background of your family. And with an SOP, the reason why it is different is SOP is statement of purpose. Now, what is your purpose? Now, tell us this field that you're applying to my lab as someone that does fish genetics. So now tell us your personal statement why you're motivated to do that particular field. I mean that particular specific line of field, which is genetics. So tell us what you think the recent trend is and how do you intend to key into that particular trend. Maybe people are using CRISPR technology to now edit genes. So okay, tell us what motivated you to particularly do that particular thing and what you think, how you think you can fit into that role and what you are bringing to the what you are bringing in terms of experience to the lab, to all of that. So that's what you want to put in an SOP. But just like I said, there are templates online that will actually guide you and give you like a technical ladder to follow through. And the last person that said, I would like to know how to write code emails. So code emails, they are not very long emails. They are different from SOP or personal statements. It's so what a code email basically is you introducing yourself like, hello, Professor XXX. This is your name, and I'm a graduate of aquaculture or fisheries in a particular school where you graduated with 4.5 out of 5.0. And ever since then, you've also had 5 or 6 years experience with it, or you are a scholar or you are an Erasmus scholar somewhere doing masters in Europe, and this is your research plan or what you've been doing, or this is the kind of job you are doing in your professional field. And I've been following you for so number of days or years or weeks on LinkedIn, and I've actually came across the work um your lab group has been doing in the development of new diagnostic technology to manage some kind of fish diseases in catfish in West Alabama. And upon coming through this particular publication that you published recently, I found it very helpful that helped you in a particular thing that you are doing over there. Maybe you're a master student or you're a professional in the field, and looking at the problem that you guys are facing here, because you're having some kind of issues with mortality. You're trying to build a new strain of fish. I'm looking at joining your lab, and it would be very helpful to learn how you guys do this. However, I would also like to ask if there's some kind of funding to offer you an assistantship to come and do a master's. That's how that's how the ladder is going to go through. And it is you introducing yourself, telling them you follow them all the way, letting the professor knows that you are interested in this field because of this that happened, and also asking that you want to join their lab as a master's or a PhD student, and you're asking for assist, because that's also important. Because if you don't mention assistantship, they might actually be able to get you as a master's student, but you come and fund yourself, which is almost impossible. So you want to ask for that, and you conclude nicely and request for their response. So that's what a code email is.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir, for your time with us tonight. And so it might be still during the day at your end. I want to say thank you very much, sir, for making out time to speak to us and also to let us see, a way to maximize scholarship opportunities and graduate opportunities in respect to positioning ourselves. So we really appreciate you, and on behalf of the core team members in Fish Lead Up and also the entire members, and also I believe we have people who are not even members who are joining us. I want to say thank you so much, sir. So Fish Lead Up is just with personally, and I saw that some people when they find themselves in this field, they seems to be or seem they see themselves to be unfortunate, and then see because they lack motivation and interest and direction of what is actually possible in fisheries and aquaculture, and that's what give birth to Fish Lead Up, that to bring young people, undergraduates and recent graduates, for us to put heads together and then let us see that it is possible to also to carve a niche for ourselves in this field. It's possible to have a great career path in this field, and people like you have been those we've been looking up to in the field, in Nigeria, across Africa, and other places in part of the world who are thriving in different aspect and value chain in this aquaculture and fisheries. So I want to say thank you so much, sir. And I believe some other time, if we call on you, you will gladly answer us, just like you have done tonight. So on behalf of Fish Lead Up, I want to say thank you, sir, for your time and for the impactful presentation and speech. So, and the presentation. So, thank you so much once again, Dr. Abdul Malik. Yeah, Oladipupo.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
yeah, yeah. And also, yeah, thank you for having me here. Is really cool to actually have a discussion like this. And just like I said, I'm always available to have this kind of discussion, and also offer any kind of advice that I can in my own capacity. So, and thank you for everyone also for coming to listen. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys all.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. And do have a nice day ahead. And thank you, sir. So, I think maybe our moderator, she had an issue with her phone. So to all who join us tonight, I want to say thank you for your time. And I believe you've been able to get value for your time you spent with us tonight. And the session is also automatically recorded on our YouTube platform. We also have diverse other sessions in time past that are recorded there that you can go through. I could see some other people, maybe one or two, who are not even in fisheries and aquaculture, but just like our moderator mentioned earlier, that these are also applicable in other fields, especially when it comes to scholarships and graduate opportunities. So I believe you've not wasted your time. You've been able to get something for yourself. So, to our Fish Leader members, I want to say thank you once again. And possibly we might still have another webinar session in the course of the month. So, but we definitely get back to us as regards that on our WhatsApp platform. So, and to round up, we're also trying to recruit for the second cohort. We already have over 100 applicants already. So, if you have somebody who is yet to to register, or even you are here, you are yet to register, because when opportunity comes, especially for trainings, as we are looking forward to partnership with some organizations, those who are registered members with us are those who will take those opportunities. So I want to employ you to do well to register and also send the link to other students in diverse tertiary institutions in Africa who are in fisheries and aquaculture to also register. So on this note, I want to say good night, everybody, and see you some other time. To our members, so see you, as we expect that you drop your response, replies to and reflections to this session tonight on our WhatsApp platform, and also possibly on social media, especially on LinkedIn, as you also tag Fish Leader. So thank you so much once again, and have a wonderful night rest for those in Africa and UK, then other people in other countries who have a wonderful day ahead. So thank you so much, everyone. See you some other time. Yeah.